Welcome, my friends. Here we are on another cheap ass beer review with Dr. Dave. Just remember, just because it's a cheap ass beer doesn't mean it's a bad beer. It just means that it didn't cost a lot of money. So, what do we have today? Well, I'll tell you what we have. We have the Molson Ice. Molson Ice, no doubt about it. This is brewed by the Molson-Coors Brewing Company out of Toronto, Canada. And it checks in at 5.6% alcohol by volume. Now, generally speaking, ice beers are frozen at some point in the brewing process, which makes the alcohol higher. Now, 5.6 isn't a lot of alcohol, but I strongly suspect that the alcohol would probably be about 4 or 4.1% if it was an ice brew. As I open this beer up, I am going to tell you. Wait till I open it. I always like to open the beer first before I say anything. My good buddy Jay Terrio, that's Louisiana Beer Reviews. He knows the entire history, not only of this beer, but of all macro lagers. And I mean that in the kindest way. Jay is quite knowledgeable. So I'll leave a link to his channel in my description box. Go over there and visit his channel. If you like what you see, subscribe. Tell him Dr. Dave sent you. But I have this lovely beer glass that I designed. This is Dr. Dave's cheap ass beer review glassware. Probably can't see it there on the camera, but it does say all that in there. Dr. Dave, cheap ass beer reviews. So we have a 24-ounce can. This is a 14-ounce glass, so you know we're not going to fit all the contents in here. Now, I left this in the refrigerator until this very moment in time because I have discovered over the last year that I've been doing these reviews on cheap ass beers that if you take them out of the refrigerator and allow them to warm, they are horrendous. As a matter of fact, on some of my beer reviews, some of my early cheap ass beer reviews, I would come back 15 minutes later and review it again, and oh my gosh, they are so horribly sweet. They are undrinkable, at least to me. We're going to go ahead and top off this head, foam, whatever you want to call it. As you would expect, it's a relatively clear pour, lovely golden color with lively carbonation. Now you can see where it says Dr. Dave's cheap ass beer reviews. Yeah, beautiful golden color, though, lively carbonated, nice bright white head. A bit of sweetness. Now that could be from corn that's in there. I don't know if this is brewed with corn, or it could be from the malts. I always like to give the brewers the benefit of the doubt and say it's from the malts and not the corn. But I don't know. Now Jay would know that. Jay would know if there's any corn or cornstarch in here. We're going to get ahead and drink the beer. But before we do, we got to thank the brewers because I don't care if this is a microbrew, a macro brew, whatever. It takes a lot of effort to brew each and every batch of beer. Man, if you don't believe me, take a tour of a brew pub. I don't care if it's a computerized brew pub or a brew pub down there on the corner where you live. Brewing beer is a lot of work. Cheers to the brewers and cheers to you at home, no doubt. A bit of sweetness in there, a bit of sweetness, but not offensive. Not offensive one bit. Let's get a little bit more. I tell you what, though, it's a bit more sweet than what my palate would like, but again, it's not offensive. This would go well. This would go extremely well with a backyard barbecue or a picnic. Yeah, this is not offensive at all. Now it's leaving some nice lacing there on the side of the glass. It's maintaining a very nice bit of foam in there. It's lively carbonated, carbonation flowing up straight up. Yeah, very nice indeed. It's not offensive one bit. It's not. I'm going to stick by my original opinion. It's a bit sweet. It's a bit sweet. Mm, I'm not going to say it's corn syrup sweet. It's not corn syrupy sweet. I'm going to say that's a bit from the malt and a bit from the corn. That's what I'm going to say. It's a combination. But look at the lacing that's leading on the side of the glassware. Now, that has a lot to do with the cleanliness of the glass, but it also has a bit to do with the construction of the beer. The thing about this beer, as with all macro lagers, is that it must be consumed when it is cold. If you allow this beer to warm up for 15 to 20 minutes, I'm afraid you're not going to like it. Or maybe you will. You know, a lot of Americans have become accustomed to this type of beer. Now, 5.6% is rather high for the alcohol volume on a macro lager. Most of the lagers in America are 4 point something percent. Yeah, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. So 5.6 is a bit on the high side for the alcohol by volume. These type of beers are best served ice cold. Ice cold. That's why it says ice. That's why it says ice on the can. Ice. Yeah. Matter of fact, if you keep these beers in a bucket of ice, they'll be bloody good. They'll be bloody good indeed. Yeah, Dr. Dave's cheap ass beer review. Now, why is this a cheap ass beer, you might ask? Because this huge can was $1.99. Now, we don't need a calculator for that, do we? We don't need a calculator for that. That's about $1. That's about $1 for a 12-ounce serving, which here in the United States, we're still on ounces. So what can I tell you? Yeah, $1 for one beer. That's what makes this a cheap ass beer. $1.99. And I bought this at one of our local gas stations. So I guess you could call this a gas station brew. But anyway, I will not finish this beer. It's a bit on the sweet side for me, even though it's ice cold. Now, perhaps if I put this beer in the freezer for about 15 to 20 minutes, it would become so cold I would not notice the sweetness. But then what's the point to it? You're drinking half frozen liquid, which you might as well drink water. Yeah, but I guess if you want to get a buzz, 5.6% alcohol, it'll give you a buzz, no doubt. 24 ounces, that's really two bottles of beer here in America. So, yeah, it's going to get you a little bit of a buzz, but I just can't see the purpose of it. But I tell you what, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 stars. As long as you drink it cold, it's very good. I do like the aroma. It's a very decent beer that would go well with a variety of foods, some backyard barbecue, your backyard picnics. This would not be offensive to anybody, but I have to stress again, keep it cold, drink it cold. If you don't, hey man, if you like that kind of beer, if you like this beer warm, that's up to you. And life is short. Let's be happy and try new things. You just keep it cold. I'm going to tell you again, keep it cold. With that in mind, until we meet next time, here's wishing all of you the very best of goodbyes. And as always, cheers.